All right, y'all. Am I live? Okay, I think I'm live, y'all. Happy Sunday. I hope I'm live on Instagram. But if not, y'all, come over to my YouTube. My YouTube is The Retail Genius. So if you are watching me, come over to my YouTube. There we go. Come over to my YouTube, y'all, where I am live and you'll be able to see all the things, y'all. So happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. I just came from church. It was amazing. At my church, we're going through the story of Joseph, which everyone knows that story. If you know the Bible, you know the story of Joseph. And it's also like Lent season. So, what I wanted to do today was talk about a topic that a lot of people have questions about. I think as people of faith, we always have this question about opening on Sundays. And it's like I think it's one of the main questions that we go through when we're building our stores and we get to the place of operations. And I sit down with my clients and I'm like, okay, well, first of all, we're gonna always benchmark the competition and their hours. And if you know anything about an Asian-owned store, they're open as long as they possibly can be open for. So we benchmark that, and then we obviously look at the community and the other surrounding stores. Because sometimes you can be in a community or on a strip or in a mall or wherever, and you are required to close by a certain time. Like there's certain rules and regulations around the operations of a business. So in certain areas, you may have to close on a Sunday because all the other stores are closed on a Sunday. And in some communities, a lot of stores may be closed because people may be inside, they're at church or whatever. So this has been like a hot topic. Well, like once we get to like the hours, people are like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to open on a Sunday. And I'll tell you my story. When I had my store, when I first opened, I battled for a long time, not a long time, maybe the first year or two, with opening on a Sunday. So at first, I just thought like it is dishonoring God to open on a Sunday. So at first I didn't open on Sunday, and then I realized we lost so much money on that. And I really battled this. So I remember one day I went to my pastor and I was like, I went to several pastors about this actually. I went to several pastors about this because I was so plagued. I was so bothered with opening on a Sunday. One pastor told me, and he broke this down for me in such a great way, but he was just like that commandment of like resting, and it's the seventh day, like the true meaning of that is God wanted you to just take a day to rest. And he was like, we have our first responders, teachers, not teachers, nurses, doctors, firemen, police, like they have to work on Sunday sometimes, but the way that they're honoring the commandment is to whatever day that you're off is to take that day to truly rest, because God rested on the seventh day. And so when he broke that down, he was just like, whatever day you choose, like that is your day of rest. That is still you honoring that commandment. So that was really helpful. And then he also said, like, you have people that are working in your store. If those individuals are also saved, like they will choose that day of rest, whatever that is for them. So when I had my store, I had like college girls working for me. So they wanted to work the weekends because they were going to school throughout the week. So like the weekends is the time that they really wanted to work. So I hired those girls. They worked on the weekends. Most of the girls, though, that I did hire, if I'm being honest, most of the girls that I did hire were Christian girls. So they were saved. And a lot of them were also going to school. So they understood that whole concept of still keeping that commandment and still having that, like that day of rest. So the question is the retail strategy and understanding, like you guys know, like I try to preach as much as possible that retail is a business of convenience first and foremost. So you have to understand the mindset of being a retailer. Like I always try to get you guys to be in the mindset of a retailer, not necessarily a beauty supply owner, but a retailer. Like, I'm a retailer, I'm in a retail business. That's truly where your mindset should be at. And so if you are in the mindset of a retailer, then you understand convenience is the number one rule to being a successful retailer. Convenience is the number one rule. So that means as a retailer, you will be open on the holidays. You will be open on a Sunday. You will be open, the weekends is not like a thing for you anymore. That's hard because when you're coming from a 9 to 5, and then you're used to having the weekends off, and then you go into becoming this entrepreneur, and now in retail you don't have the weekends off, you don't have holidays, especially if you was coming from a government job. So I was coming from like a government job. I was working with the Treasury Department as a bank examiner. So I worked with the Treasury. So I had weekends off and I had holidays off. When you step into the retail world, that is not existent. Now you are working around the people's schedule. So the people are off on the Saturday and they're off on the holidays. You have to be open to get that money. So when we're thinking about understanding opening on Sundays and going to church and balancing, it's a balancing act. You have to balance all of these things. And that's what I had to realize is if I was going to be open on a Sunday, if I was going to, have girls work on a Sunday and they were also saved, then we all understood that we would still take one day of rest and honor that commandment. So for those of you who are feeling like, I don't know if I can open on a Sunday, I feel plagued, you can also do shorter hours on a Sunday, which is also what I did. Sundays, we were open from like 11 to 5, something like that. And this is what I have my clients do. Like, none of my clients, first of all, none of my clients ever want to open on Sunday. Y'all fight me on this. Y'all don't want to open on Sunday. So what I tell them to do is, like, when you are first opening, first of all, the rule is testing. Like, we're testing everything. We're testing the hours. And this is why we have 2 different events. We have a soft launch event and then we have a grand opening event. So in between that time, between your soft launch and your grand opening, you are testing the hours. That includes Sunday. So I'm going to tell you to open on a Sunday, but then you can open during a certain window and then see how that works for you. So the window that I give most clients on a Sunday is from 11 to like 5 or 11 to like 6, something like that. Whereas during the week, we're typically open from like 10 to 7. That's like the average. And then if you're in a city that, like New York City, I'm in New York City, then, those hours are a little bit longer. Maybe it's 11 to 7 or, 11 to 6 or whatever. But we did like 11. I feel like we ended at like 11 to 6. Like, after the testing was done, like, that was our perfect hours. So you also need to just realize you also have to test this thing. And if you go 6 months and Sundays are just consistently like literally no sales, like no one ever comes, then you can make the decision after 6 months of testing it that maybe you shouldn't be open on a Sunday. I have yet to see that, though. I have yet to see someone make 0 consistent sales on a Sunday. It may be the lowest day, but you're always going to have a return. So if we look at, and you have to break this down for your own store, but look at what it costs to operate that store for the day. So we're looking at the light bill for one day, and you're looking at payroll for one day. That's usually it. And then when you're looking at payroll, by the way, you only need one person there on a Saturday. You don't really need 2 people. So if it's slow, one person can hold it down from 11 to 6 or 11 to 5, right? So that's 7 hours. You're paying that person $10 an hour. Let's just round numbers, $70 a day. And then the light bill for one day could maybe be $10. I have no idea what that light bill could be, but let's say it's $10. So you're looking at a daily operational expense of $80 for the Sunday. So if you make more than $80 on a Sunday, you need to be open on a Sunday. If you make more than $80 on the Sunday, you need to be open on a Sunday. And 9 times out of 10, you are making way more than $80 on a Sunday. If you're not making more than $80 on a Sunday, y'all need to DM me and get some coaching. But for the average person, if you're looking at an $80 overhead expense, you should be open on a Sunday. When I looked up, we had lost like maybe $10,000 in revenue not being open on a Sunday. I have a client right now. She's not open on a Sunday. And I'm like, we have to get to like 10K months. Y'all know that's like my thing. Y'all need to get to 10K months. If you're not at 10K consistent months, once again, you need coaching, you need DME. So these are the things you have to look at. I lost over $10,000. And then also not just the revenue loss, but when you start out the gate with not opening on a Sunday, and then you realize the amount of money you're losing, and then now you want to open on Sunday, it is so hard to get people to come to your store on a Sunday after they are used to you not being open on a Sunday. You have to do so much marketing, so much pulling, so much tugging to get people to come to your store on a Sunday if you have never opened on a Sunday. So it's harder to get people to come back to the store than the reverse, which again, the reverse would have been you test Sundays for 6 months and then decide, okay, like I make no money. Like I'm just going to close on a Sunday. But like I said, I have not seen that. I have not seen a store not make money on a Sunday. I haven't seen someone say I consistently have $0 in sales on a Sunday. Okay. So I'm going to leave y'all with this. You need to take a look at the numbers, and you need to take a look at the data and make your decisions based on the data that's given to you. So if the data shows that maybe Sundays is a slower day, like it's, $200, $300, like you're still making money. Like if your overhead expense is $80 and you're making $200, $300 on a Sunday, which is not a whole lot of money, but it's still worth it, because you'll get that Sunday where you'll get people who just came into town, they're tourists, and boom, they spend $1,000 on a Sunday. You will always get those Sundays where it's like you get an influx of people just randomly. And that happens on a Sunday, that happens on a Tuesday, that happens on a Wednesday. It always happens. So think about all these things. Think about these concepts. And then also, guys, we hire people. That's the other main thing. It's like you want to have people working in your store so that you don't feel obligated to be there. So when you hire correctly, which means you hire slow, you have a 3-step interview process, and then you train properly, which means the training is another 2-week process on average in retail. Then you have the confidence to go ahead and let somebody be in the store on a Sunday, and then you can be in church worshiping God. So when you go through that step and you have confident people working for you, it's not a hard thing. It's not a challenging thing to be open on a Sunday when you know that you have competent staff in your store that's going to bring in the money that you need to be able to cover that overhead on a Sunday. Even if you have 4 or 5 customers for a Sunday, 4 or 5 customers spending $100 each is a $500 day. When you have good salespeople and competent salespeople, you can make that $500 a day. But you need to be open. You need to be known as a store of convenience, because when you're not open, people start to like do this thing in their head where it's like, if I have to try to figure out your hours and I have to figure out when you're open and when you're closed, and I have to go to Google, constantly going to Google, I'm just going to go to what I know and who I know. And it's Target, it's Walmart, it's the Koreans. They're always open. I know for a fact that if I drive there, they're going to be open. I don't have to Google anything. I don't have to look up anything. I don't have to call anybody. They're just open. So that level of reliability is what people are looking for when they're shopping. They're looking for convenience. They're looking for a reliable business. I don't want to have to call and see if you're open. If I got to do all that and I have to do all that thinking, I'm probably just going to go to Target and call it a day. We ain't supposed to be in Target, but I'm just going to go to Target and call it a day. All right. So that is my points for today, y'all. Pray on this. At the end of the day, this business is God's business. He is the CEO. He is the true CEO of this business. So, pray on everything, y'all. Make sure you have strategy in place, right? Make sure you have strategy in place because we are kingdom entrepreneurs. So we put God first, but then we also make sure that we have strategy and people and resources in place to execute, right? So before you decide to close, like, make sure you have done the work to find the staff to cover the hours, and you've just done your part, y'all. You've just done your part. So that is all that I got for y'all. That's the tea for today. Is if you ask Janice if she should be open on a Sunday, if you ask the retail teams if you should be open on a Sunday, yes, you need to be open on a Sunday, y'all. That is my short answer. I'm not going to tell you to close. But if the Lord told you to close, then again, He has the final say. 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 It is all, everything here is his. So I will see you guys tomorrow on another Lunch and Learn. I might be back on at 8 p.m. tonight. I'm not sure, with somebody else, but I will for sure be on tomorrow because I am going live and sharing some gems with you guys every single day up until Icons of Beauty Supply Summit. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, I don't know what you're waiting on because we have pre-sale going on right now and it's about to actually close. So I dropped a link in the chat if you guys are watching me on YouTube. BeautySupplyBlueprint.com/icons of beauty is the link to get your tickets for the iconic summit that we're having March 22nd, all day trainings on how to grow and scale your beauty supply business into a 6 and 7 figure beauty supply business. We have a ton of amazing speakers that are going to be walking you through their journey of opening their beauty supply business. And it's just going to be amazing. So you just need to be in the room. We are literally less than a week away from this event. We are literally less than a week away from this powerful, amazing event. If you're watching me, you need to be in the building. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Happy Sunday.